Thank you, Maria. And for those of you watching the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One. Game 2 of the afternoon here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The 3-seed NC State hosting 14-seed Maine. Kentucky advances to Monday's second-round game after beating Princeton 82-77. The winner on Monday will move on to a Sweet 16 matchup in the Greensboro Regional. I'm Melissa Lee alongside three-time WNBA Coach of the Year Mike Tebow, and there are only 2 rematches of regular season games in this tournament. This is one of them. That first meeting back in December between these two teams, Coach, for Maine, not so pretty, but they're two very different teams now.
Not so pretty. They lost by 38, but things have changed. First of all, North Carolina State has had a slew of injuries, basically playing 6 players a game. And for Maine, they got Fonnie Wadling back, their post player, who's their rebounder in the middle. That should help. The other thing is Coach Vachon for Maine showed her team film, and they got a lot of good shots early in that game. They just didn't knock them down. They normally knock down a lot of threes. They're going to need to do that today.
It'll be a 3-point clinic from Maine here this afternoon. By the way, the other rematch in the tournament, Stanford and UC Davis. This is the 5th meeting all time between the Wolfpack and the Black Bears. NC State 4-0 in the series. Maine staying in the same hotel, same arena. They know what they're getting into against the Wolfpack. And we are underway. NC State controlling the opening tip.
Well, you're going to see North Carolina State try to get it into their post players early in the game.
Lisa Canane has to kick it back out. Take a look at today's Capital One starting lineup for NC State. Got some size for NC State. And Maine knows they're not going to be able to run with the size of NC State today.
Well, Canane has been the revelation.
Capital One starting lineup for Maine. A lot of 3-point sharpshooters on this squad full of international kids. And there's the first triple of the game, courtesy of Paris Rossignol.
They're going to shoot a lot of threes. This is the contrast. You saw a 3 by Maine. You saw a post up for Canane for North Carolina State. She got inserted into the starting lineup about a third of the way into the season, and she's been a huge part of their offense.
This is Dor Sar, the point guard with the basketball from Israel. Jump shot, off back iron, and the rebound there for Canane, the freshman, who has been fantastic this season. Inserted into the lineup because of injury after injury after injury after injury for NC State this season, starting at the beginning of the year, as that falls for Kai Crutchfield, the sophomore from Auburn.
That's a big shot for North Carolina State because teams usually play off of her. They try to help off of her, take away post-ups, play the other players. And if Crutchfield can make shots like that, then the offense for North Carolina State gets a lot harder to defend.
NC State with all the injuries, 4 huge players going down in this season. That's why Wes Moore is named one of the finalists for the 2019 Naismith Coach of the Year Award. He started out the season 22-0 after all of those injuries, able to bounce back each and every time.
Every time. 4 knee injuries is usually devastating to a team. But as we saw last year, Notre Dame went through the same thing. If you have some mental toughness about you, you can overcome some of these things.
Lisa Canane working baseline, trying to reverse the ball.
Good defense by Wadling. Maine's basically going to play a Princeton-style offense. 4 players on the perimeter. 1 post-up player who's a screener, plays inside and out. You're going to see a lot of ball movement, a lot of threes.
3-pointer on the way. NC State, 26-5 on the year, 12-4 in the ACC. That's a triple for Canane.
She's only taken 7 all year, but I think she's made 4 of them. And she made 1 to actually win the Syracuse game for them at Syracuse with big shot late in the game.
Just take away the numbers, right, and just add the percentage, which is 57%. That looks better. Looks pretty good. Now we got another triple. Other side, and that's going to fall. Dor Sar.
Those were the shots that didn't go in the first time these guys played.
It's a team that beat North Carolina and 16 triples in the game to do it. Nice block. Paris Rossignol, the senior. Weren't sure what to think of getting a rematch of a team they played in the regular season. But Maine said, hey, we're happy to be here, and we want to be a team that goes beyond just happy to be here. We want to win a game. We know what we're getting into with this team.
Well, they're playing with confidence. They've won 14 straight coming into this game.
5 seconds on the shot clock. That's an open look from 3. The miss, Fanny Wadling from Sweden. Leslie, nice move.
She's becoming an attacking player. You know, she has very efficient games. Shoots a high percentage from 3, but she's learned to attack the basket against defenders who aren't as quick as her.
Wes Moore called her a godsend. He said they have their top recruiting class coming in next year due to what they were able to complete in the season a year ago, in the body of work in the NCAA tournament run, and she was a huge part of that. Leslie again fires, no. It's like a load on the basket now for these two teams. 1-point lead for NC State, hosting back-to-back seasons. Sarr fires, yes.
Highly confident player. All these guards for Maine shoot the 3 at a very high level.
Kick outside to Dee Rogers, senior from Charlotte.
I think Dee Rogers is one of the most improved players in the ACC. She had to sit behind 2 senior post players last year, didn't play a lot of minutes, and yet now she comes in as a starter and has been a huge impact player for NC State.
Doubled her minutes, points per game, rebounds per game. Wes Moore gives her credit, says most kids would have left the program. She stuck with it. Open 3, Tanisha Sutton. Maine had a touch for the rebound, and Leslie has it. Drives, the kick out, and nobody home. I think she saw Dee Rogers there in the peripheral vision. At NC State, got the early 1-point lead.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by McDonald's.
In the first quarter of action, NC State up by 1 over Maine, and that's just a small glimpse of a lost production a year ago for NC State. The 4 knee injuries. Alyssa Lee alongside 3-time WNBA Coach of the Year Mike Thibault.
Well, Grace Hunter was their leading scorer when she went out at almost 15 points a game and 6.5 rebounds. And Erica Cassell had been in the starting lineup at 7 points and 4.5 rebounds a game. That's a lot to lose from your lineup. They're basically down to playing 6 players right now, all 33 to 36 minutes apiece.
They lost Kayla Ely to start the season. Armani Hawkins, January 10th. Her career is done. But the good news is everybody else gets to come back.
Yes, the redshirt year will help them with their recruiting class that they have coming in.
Last game for NC State was in the ACC tournament. They lost to Louisville by 10.
And got in foul trouble that game, and it really hurt them. They can't afford, with their low numbers, to be in foul trouble.
Coach said he sat his players who were in foul trouble. Said, looking back, he wished he hadn't. 5 seconds on the shot clock. It's out of bounds. Good defense by Maine.
Very good defense. They've, you know, even though they're giving up a lot of size to Canaan, they've really bottled her up. They've pushed her underneath the plane of the backboard and made it tough for her to jump back in to shoot.
There's one of your 4 finalists for the 2019 Naismith Coach of the Year Award. Again, just for what he's been able to do with the 4 knee injuries this season, it's been sensational. And going coast to coast on the other side, Fanny Wadling. First bucket of the game.
And as we said, she missed the last time they played, and it's a big addition to their team. Some size. They don't have a lot of size, so they need her to be good.
On iron for Leslie. Wadling was out in the first matchup, as you mentioned, with a concussion. And you can see the impact that kid has on this roster just based on what they do with her in the game and without her in the game.
And you could see when they practiced yesterday how much she's a factor in their offense as far as getting teammates open with great screening.
As we just saw there, which gave Rosignol a 3-point look. Rogers, who got into some trouble. No advice pass. Three-pointer. Blanca Milan, again, not to bury the lead, but that's their leading scorer, averages 17.5 points per game. 2019 America East Player and Defensive Player of the Year.
That's quite a double-double to get both the MVP or Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
This Maine team is loaded with some stars. Again, a lot of them, majority of the roster coming from overseas. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Kick it back out. Three-pointer falls for Leslie.
That was great defense inside on the post on Kunane, but Leslie had a lot of room to operate to shoot the ball when it came back out.
5 points for the graduate from Holly Springs, North Carolina, transferred in from Maryland. Milan tries again.
They're going to need her to have a good game for them to have a chance to win in this game. She's going to get a lot of attention from the NC State defense. Well, Kiara Leslie is a big scorer, and she gets her shot here coming out of the post. Kunane makes a great pass. Leslie with plenty of space, an efficient three-point shooter. Just under 40%.
Leslie with the 5 points. On the other side, it's Saar with 5 points for Maine. Rosignol assessed her first foul. Koenig from the free throw line, yes.
Well, Ace Koenig is an interesting player. She came to NC State as a 2-guard, but with all the injuries, she's gone back to playing the point, which she actually likes, but it's really opened up her game to play both. And a great steal.
On the other end, yeah, on the steal, and converts the junior guard from British Columbia.
I'm glad these players are helping us out by like making a play right after we talk about them.
Made her sound good, and then she wanted to show you she looks good, too. Off the switch, Saar. Tried to get that through, and just a wall of NC State players there. Ball is loose, and Crutchfield has it. Skip pass, wide open look again. From the corner.
Almost the same spot as the last one. Great skip pass.
10-0 run for NC State. Coach Westmore wanted a sellout. It's pretty close here today. Got the fans fired up.
Maine trying to survive the quarter here. Get a good shot at the end, get a little bit of help back at the end of the quarter.
Second to go, and the shot falls short for Maine. A 10-0 run for NC State.
Well, Ace Koenig, you know, most people know her for offense, but her defense got her a big play here. Jumping in the passing lane, getting the steal, going full court for the layup. That's a big play and got the run going for NC State.
Second quarter, a 10-0 run for NC State to end the first quarter. And Kentucky, they're looking on, taking notes, because they battle the winner of this one on Monday night here in Raleigh, North Carolina. A great start for NC State, the 3 seed in this pod. Melissa Lee alongside 3-time WNBA Coach of the Year Mike Thibault, and Coach Kiara Leslie came in from high school as an athlete and not so much a shooter, but boy, she has worked on that over her time here at NC
Wes
State.
Moore just said, you know, I went in the gym and everybody told me she was a, you know, a physical specimen, but wasn't that great a shooter. He said, then I watched her shoot. He said, well, somebody's lying to me because she can shoot. So, you know, she's off to a great start. 8 points, 2 threes, and a layup. She's been great.
Great start for NC State. They also had a couple of weeks off after the ACC tournament. Again, bounced in the semis. A lot of time to rest and recuperate as Fonnie Walding drops in a bucket.
Well, she needs to make a few of those shots because Alyssa Kunane is playing off of her and zoning up the middle of the paint, and she needs to keep the NC State defense honest by making those. Otherwise, they're just going to be able to help on all drives. Again, looking again, she's become a focal part. They're trying to get it inside.
7 seconds. Ooh, right between 2 defenders. It's a tough shot.
That's the growth of Dee Dee Rogers right now. Last year, she wouldn't even thought about doing that. Or if she did, Coach would have held his hands over his head in dread. Now she's become accomplished. She's learned how to attack the basket.
Alicia Sutton picks up her first foul.
We'll probably see at some point during the game Rogers will they'll run an ISO play for her up at the elbow just to let her attack their defense.
Yeah, she's really improved on her range. Still working on it. And is one of their toughest defenders. Guards 1 through 5.
They switch out on pick and roll sometime when she's defending the post player, and she can guard offensive guards out on the perimeter. She's got good footwork.
Pass tipped out of bounds by Koenig. And the Maine Black Bears, winners of the America East, finished 15-1 in conference play. They've won their last 14 games, feeling pretty good about how they finished the season. And trying to win a game in the tournament. Amy Vachon, their head coach, went to the tournament 4 years as a player for Maine. She's got a rich history of women's basketball.
Yeah, she's in total love with the school and the program. You know how much it's meant to her career, and she said coming back to be the coach there at her alma mater was such a huge honor for her.
Their third season as the head coach, 8th year total on staff. Two-time America East Coach of the Year. Took over the coaching duties after Richard Barron left. He is now the men's coach out there in Maine. Leslie picks up her first foul. Rossignol, 41% shooter from outside.
It's amazing how quickly the three-point shots can change the momentum of a game. You feel like you're playing great, and then that happens. Great hustle.
Good pass, and a miss. And Blanca Milan is having a tough time here today. She's been held scoreless.
Yeah, she's just off right and left on her shot a little bit. Not coming off her fingers really well.
Rogers with 6 points on the afternoon. Looks like they're going to call Koenig for the reach-in.
And those are the fouls that Westmore has talked about his team can't have. When you're down to 6 players, he can't have anybody in foul trouble early.
Long 2.
Well, this is clearly a scouting report defense because North Carolina State is playing off of Wadling and Sutton and making them make jump shots. Their 2 defenders are playing off of everybody.
Rims out for Canade. It's the second time she's fired off a triple in this game.
It's scary how good she can be. You're talking about a freshman who's had to carry a huge load for this North Carolina State team.
Sutton needs some help.
Yeah, sooner or later, Sutton or Milan's going to have to make a shot like that.
Leslie again. It's punched out of bounds. And it will stay here on this end.
And North Carolina State's getting pretty good looks at the rim right now. They've missed a couple, but they've been wide open. The other thing that's striking about this game with the 2 teams defensively, unlike the game we saw before, is that both of these teams play kind of a safer contained defense. They don't get out and extend like a Kentucky does and pressure the ball out on the wings as much. They play inside out.
The miss and the putback. Rossignol working hard on that play.
Rosignol's been their most consistent offensive player in the game. 8 of their 17 points.
She's got 8 this afternoon and 2 rebounds. Open look for Rogers.
I don't think Westmore's going to like that shot. He turned and walked away to keep from saying something.
25-17 lead for NC State. Sutton 0 for 7. Milan 0 for 3. Milan averages 17.5 points per game. Wadling, shot won't fall. Steal. Sard looking ahead. And a foul. So NC State off and running here, and a quick foul called on Canade.
The senior forward, Kiara Leslie, has jump-started the North Carolina State offense, both inside and out, being able to put the ball on the floor and attack the basket, and then stepping back behind the three-point line on a pass back out of the post, and on a great cross-court pass by Crutchfield for the skip three. She's knocking him down. She's got him going.
8 points for Leslie, 3 rebounds. And some pretty good defense as well. Maine is a team that needs to knock down shots in order to win ball games. They had to knock down 16 threes to beat North Carolina out of the ACC earlier this year. Right now held to just 3 triples in the game.
And they've had wide open looks too. It's coming to you. You had
I'm
your
ready
hands
for
ready.
it, Coach. I'm ready for it. Ready for the rebound. Milan had a touch on it that was 22. Still scoreless in this game. American East Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year.
Both teams finally made their first sub right at the start of this period, or excuse me, after the timeout.
Shots just not falling. 0 for 4, Milan, this afternoon. Koenig, the kick out. Crutchfield rims out.
Great hustle by Leslie. Well, now we see her get an offensive rebound for a score. And it's what your senior leader's supposed to do. I mean, if you're the star, that's what you have to do.
They ask a lot of her, and she's able to deliver. Averages 15 points on the season. There's a shot from outside for Dorsard. 8 points for the sophomore from Israel. Leslie, all stripped away, and a foul is called. The NC State men's team faces Harvard in a second-round NIT matchup. You can catch it tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on ESPNU and the ESPN app. Also visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Coach, we were here watching all the practices yesterday, and the men's team came in and had to retake the floor.
That's interesting. In the NIT, they're experimenting with some different rules. They put down the NBA lane and a longer three-point line, trying to see what effect they've... A couple years in a row now, the NIT has experimented with some rules. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the tournament.
The fans here in Raleigh, it's a fun time of year. Got to pick your poison. Do you come to all the games? Which
well, you know me. I just come to all of them.
Come to all of them. Make it a full session on the weekend. Seconds on the shot clock here for Maine. 5. Wadling fires. Long 2, got it.
Well, if she can make more of those, it's going to force the NC State defense to come out a little bit. They're hanging in the game a whole lot better than the last time they're here, and feeling good about it, I think.
6-point lead for NC State. Not anymore.
And the irony is both teams basically ran the same play against each other on the 2 possessions up and down the floor.
That first matchup between the 2 teams, an 84-46 blowout over Maine. And Coach Amy Vachon told us that Westmore actually went light on her team that night. Could have been worse. Sutton, three-pointer no.
They're really allowing, Sutton's only a 25% three-point shooter, so anything she makes is a bonus for them.
That's in and out of the hands of Leslie. It will be Maine basketball. Coming up at the Northwestern Mutual halftime report, Maria Taylor, Andy, and Rebecca will look at UCLA, Tennessee, Syracuse, Fordham, and Central Michigan versus Michigan State. You think Susie was happy with that draw from Michigan State,
man.
Central Michigan?
Right down the road.
Be a great matchup, especially for those fans. Leslie, by the way, picks up her second foul. That could be key and something to watch for.
Well,
as this game goes on.
again, like we talked about in the first game, you cannot make a mistake on one end and compound it by having a foul and getting yourself in trouble that way. Just play the next play.
A turnover on the other end. Third turnover of the game for Maine.
This is a far more calm game than the first game we saw today, which was a frenzied game in many ways.
He's doing a good job taking care of the basketball. That was easy for Maine.
Good no call by the official. A little bit of a flop. Had no bearing on the play.
NC State out rebounding Maine 21-11. As would be expected. Amy Vachon knew she wouldn't be able to hang with their style of play. Stick to what they do best. Outside shooters. That pass intercepted. Maine gets it back. Dorsar needs some help.
And you got to know the shot clock. There's 6 seconds left.
Driving to the hole. And no basket. They're going to call it traveling violation on Tanisha Sutton. It's one of those momentum changers.
Wow.
If it had gone the other way,
Yeah,
as you
I'd
see
like to see that
Vachon not
one.
happy at all.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. She called it on the jump stop, but I thought it was a legal play.
Under a minute to go. Here in Raleigh before the half, Koenig fires. Another opportunity for NC State. Did not hit rim, so we have 6 seconds on the shot clock. Yes! Kai Crutchfield. And a foul call.
Every shot that Kai Crutchfield makes is a bonus shot for NC State. Great kick out, close out. They didn't let her land, and that's why the foul was called. They didn't get her on the arm, I don't think, but they didn't let her come straight down and land on the floor.
First foul assessed to Dorsar. Largest lead of the game for NC State. 45.3 to go before the half.
It really feels like right now Maine is playing 3 against 5 offensively a little bit because Wadling and Sutton are not being defended on the perimeter.
3 seconds. Shot off the mark. And Maine has been pushed deep into their shot clock here in the last couple of possessions.
Now this is a really good call by the officials. So Dee Dee Rogers heard the buzzer, didn't understand that she had caught it before the buzzer went off, thought that, you know, that there was going to be a violation call, and basically traveled walking up the floor.
The basketball.
And so it's Maine's ball back. Right call by the officials.
Maine will get it back with 12.7 to go. Shot clock turned off. Wadling will send it out of bounds off of NC State. 10.9 on the inbound play. Out of bounds now. NC State gets it back with 8.4.
All these little handoffs in tight areas are tough to do when the sideline is actually an extra defender for you. You only have so much space, and somebody gets their hands in, knocks it out.
The speed, Crutchfield trying to penetrate. Second to go. Fires. Got it!
Kai Crutchfield has had a tremendous first half. With 7 seconds to go, they push it down the floor, reverse the ball. Crutchfield knows, she sees it, sees the rim, wide open shot, knocks it down. NC State up 39-22 going to the half.
Time for the Northwestern Mutual halftime report. We're watching NC State taking on Maine and Westmore. They had a program best start to their season, and now they're rolling in the tournament. Maria Taylor, Rebecca Lobo, and Andy Landers. And you saw Kai Crutchfield knocking down a shot to go into the locker room. They gotta be feeling good.
Well timed with that half-court buzzer. But I think the difference in this game has been North Carolina State on the defensive end of the floor. They've been real disruptive to what Maine wants to do. They've held them to 32% from the floor, but moreover, they've taken 12 of their possessions away by virtue of turning them over. You know, when you're playing on the other team's court, as Maine is with NC State, probably a little bit better team, you need all the possessions you can get. That's just not happening. Credit North Carolina State's defense.
And more than half of Maine's field goal attempts is from the three-point line. That's what they do. They spread you out. But if you can make them take it a little bit quicker than they normally would by closing out defensively the way NC State has, it makes it more difficult to drain those.
All right, well, let's try to make it look easy as we roll through some of these highlights, okay? It's Miller time, 28 points. I mean, come on now. Open the bucket. Princeton taking on Kentucky, and the Princeton offense working really well. They had a lot of open shots.
Yeah, a little penetrate, kick out, find the open man, score it. They got some back doors early on Kentucky, went up on Kentucky. This was a good game until the second half. Kentucky made some adjustments, defended it a little tighter. Macy Morris here with a three, got going in the second half. So did Taylor Murray. Taylor Murray was terrific, not only with her distribution of the basketball, steals, shots, key plays coming down the stretch. Kentucky wins this one.
Yeah, the Wildcats were down 4 at half, but then they were able to turn on the jet shot at almost 60% from the field in the second half, and they get to advance in Raleigh. And remember, they get to take on either NC State or Maine, who are right now sitting in the locker room in their half-court huddles. And Kai Crutchfield, she's probably trying to get back out on the court because she had an excellent first half. Oh, there was a hand in her face, but it didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
We'll pack up big.
This halftime report is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Spend your life living.
Welcome back to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. The number 3 seed NC State Wolfpack on top of the 14 seed Maine Black Bears, 39-22 at the half. I'm Melissa Lee alongside Mike Tebow and Coach Story of the game. NC State's defense sharp early on.
They played a real scouting report defense where they're sagging off inside. Both Dee Dee Rogers and Alyssa Canane are guarding the paint and really not coming out at all on the perimeter to defend. They're just sagging. They're making people making Fannie Wadling and Sutton shoot jump shots, and they've done a good job of just taking away any layup possibilities. They're playing inside out. On the next play, you have Canane and Rogers both playing. You got just a semi-closeout to the three-point shooters. At the other end of the floor, the biggest deal is Kai Crutchfield has been the X factor, knocking down three-point shots, 10 points, double her average for the season.
Yeah, averages just a shade under 6 per game. And for the University of Maine, they've got just the 4 triples here today. This is a team that needed 7 to pull it to within 3 in a loss to Duke and beat North Carolina by dropping in 16 triples. Their leading scorer, player of the year in the America East, Blanca Milan, scoreless in the first half, as well as Tanisha Sutton, a redshirt senior from Philly.
Basically, Maine right there gave NC State a dose of their own defense, playing off of Dee Dee Rogers and Canane, trying to get them to shoot outside shots, taking away the penetration of Crutchfield and Leslie and Ace Koenig.
Jump shot. And good for Rossignol.
Well, she hasn't been afraid of the moment. She's come out firing. She and Dorzar have come out shooting the ball. They need somebody else to join in.
It's all about the body language in the first half. And Milan and Sutton not quite looking like they normally have throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, both of them are first-team all-conference players. You expect them to be aggressive. And right now, when you miss the first couple shots like that, they look a little reluctant to be a part of the offense.
See if that changes here second half. Easy on the inbound.
NC State works on inbounds plays every practice that I've ever been to. and they're one of the better teams in the country at scoring off baseline out-of-bounds plays.
8 points for Canade, the freshman.
Again, we see Rogers and Canane playing inside out, basically just playing the paint, encouraging shots.
Dorsar fires, rims out, and the offensive rebound is there by Watling.
When you're going to play like that, though, you still got to go find somebody to block out. You can't just turn and think the ball's going to come to you on a rebound.
And Sutton get a shot off. Dorr will try again. This time hits Pater.
Well, the one thing Sutton has done to help her team is she set good screens for Dorsar and Rosignol to get open.
10 for Rosignol and 11 for Sarr. Wildling with 6. That's it for Maine. Block shot. So Milan affecting the game on the other end.
And it's why she was the defensive player of the year in their conference.
Off the screen, Sarr. Sutton. She is denied. Here comes Rogers.
Great
the pass. Wow. Great sequence. Crutchfield doubling her average, now with 12 points.
I'm so impressed with how much Dee Dee Rogers has improved in 1 year. She's like a different player than a year ago.
It's one thing to hear it from coach, right? And it's another thing to actually see it live and how she affects the game, even for the things that don't show up on the stat sheet, coach.
Exactly. Her poise. You know, usually you need to have played a lot of minutes in your career to kind of have that poise as a senior.
Crutchfield has also been impressive. The ball in her hand now, just the sophomore. Rogers out to Koenig, fires. No.
Boy, we watched practice yesterday. I don't remember Koenig missing more than 2 shots the entire day. That one was halfway down.
Off the mark for Sarr. One thing that Coach Vachon told us, one, they got to shoot the ball and shoot it well. But 2, they can't force things. And Maine has been forcing things. They started that towards the end of the first half. We're starting to see it again, Coach.
Well, part of the problem is I don't think they're used to being defended like this. I don't. The extra 2 defenders in the lane has made a big difference to them mentally, I think.
Milan's still looking for her first bucket of the game. He's going to drive and draws the foul. No. No bucket there. Second round coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues today on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Kira Leslie picks up her 3rd foul. Quick shot. The miss, and now the putback, and now the first bucket of the game.
Maybe just seeing it go through will help her get her going. She fouled her own miss. She knew she had missed, but getting a layup sometimes just jumpstarts you mentally.
She was 0 for 5 until that bucket there.
Great seal in the lane here by Cunane to draw the foul. Wadling got caught dead behind and had nothing she could do about it.
First foul assessed to Wadling here today. She's been an impressive kid to watch here this afternoon as well. She has the 6 points and 6 rebounds on the afternoon.
Well, they called an offensive foul on the screen here.
Called it on Cunane. That is her second.
She must have moved on the pick. We got screened off a little bit, couldn't see it on the other side of the floor. Kayla Jones in now for NC State, their one real sub that they use.
And the bump, and you saw Crutchfield was about to turn on the Jets and go. She's going to be feeling pretty good and confident about her game so far. It's been a good one.
Well, she struggled early year when, you're replacing a player like Grace Jones in the starting lineup, who's the team's leading scorer. Now you're being asked to be a major contributor. But she's gotten so much better as the season's gone on.
as Westmore said, as Canane gets the bucket and the foul. Burkai got thrown into the fire, has handled it well, as has this entire NC State Wolfpack team here on the afternoon. Up big, 45-29.
NCAA Women's Championship, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Remaining here in the quarter, 45-29 lead for NC State, the 3 seed out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and this regional feeding the Greensboro regional, and a date with either Iowa or Missouri, and 2 fantastic finishes yesterday, round 1 of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Melissa Lee alongside Mike Tebow here with you this afternoon on the campus of NC State.
Well, this is kind of the make or break time of the game right now for Maine. They've got to get a little run going if they want to get back in this game.
Martha Milan, the leading scorer, able to knock down her first bucket just a few moments ago.
That's
that
a good start.
From Dorsar.
Yep, that's a good start.
It's a 38-point win for the Wolfpack. These 2 teams met back on December 15th of this year. Excuse me, last year, 2018. Off the mark for Koenig.
They like to run plays for Koenig coming out of timeouts.
Rims out.
Boy, Milan, she just can't catch a break right now.
She's a junior. She'll come back next year.
I'm not sure that Westmore wanted that shot that quickly from Kayla Jones right there. They feel like they can get better shots.
So Maine, a lot of zeros when you look at up and down the score sheet. Rosendahl with 10, Sar 13, Milan 2, Wadling with 6. That's it for Maine. Seven seconds on the shot clock. Along with the basketball, gives it up to Sutton. And she gets the bounce, her first bucket of the game.
That was a big bounce to get, too. Kept them in range now. 11-point game. Could have gone the other way.
Now the top 2 scorers knocked down their first buckets of the ball game. What will that look like moving forward? Good passing inside. Canane hits the deck.
Well, the other thing right now is Leslie on the bench with 3 fouls. Has changed the flow of the game a little bit for NC State, too.
Canane is a 76% free throw shooter. Milan, picks up her 3rd foul. NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One continues next at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. Check local listings for the game in your area, and remember that all of them are streaming live on the ESPN app.
It's such a contrast in styles of the 2 games we've had today. This one is a much more contained game. We've had very few whistles. Maine hasn't shot a free throw yet, or maybe one.
Still waiting to go. Still waiting for that first shot to get to the free throw line. Maine, the kick out. 7 seconds on the shot clock. And Kayla Jones taking a beating as she drives in strong to the hole, the sophomore from North Carolina.
Somehow I think when she runs into people, they take as much of beating as she does.
Milan just picked up her 4th foul. You see it all over the look on the face of the head coach for Maine, Amy Vachon. Vachon, her leading scorer coach, is just limited here to just 1 bucket. A 2-pointer here this afternoon.
Well, they're going to sub for her here. McVicker coming in. Maybe this will jumpstart their team in a weird kind of way. But get somebody else coming in the game. Doesn't have their thoughts in their head.
It's Maddie McVicker, the senior guard from Calais, Maine, averages 3 points per game. averages don't matter anymore if you're not knocking shots down. And Milan
Exactly.
having a really tough time here this afternoon. We'll see what Vicker can do in her place. Trying to work inside, outside. Sar. 5 seconds on the shot clock. That is money. Wow.
She's kept them in the game all by herself at times. She and Rosignol have not been phased by the game. And now
Sutton off of her feet, and she was dying to get that opportunity for that bucket. It's been a tough go for her here today.
Yeah, she's a terrific defensive player, and that's a way to get yourself going in offense, but she kind of looked up to get a look at the basket and bounced off her foot.
We all felt her pain on that one.
Yes, we did.
Another steal. Now can Maine convert? A minute remaining in the quarter. Waddling. A little bit of a teardrop shot. And the rebound is pulled down by Kanane.
I think Ace needs to reward Kanane for running the floor there. She runs to get post position. As good as she is in the post, got to give it to her.
Kanane working inside, turnaround shot. Yes.
Great touch. She can turn with either hand, either shoulder.
14 points for the freshman from Summerfield, North Carolina. Three-pointer McVicker. Off the glass, no. Kanane pulls down the rebound, and that is how the third quarter of action will end. So NC State holding on to their big lead here, 51-37. The 3-seed NC State in the driver's seat as we start the fourth quarter of play of 51-37 over the 14-seed Maine. It has been a tough go for Maine's leading scorers who make this team go as you see the difference. Blanca Milan, Tanisha Sutton, what they've done for the season, and then today.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for 18 from the floor combined from them, 1 for 11 from 3. Just a tough way. I mean, they're both first-team all-conference players in the America East, and now they're having a tough go finding a way to get the ball in the basket.
Milan is at the bench at the end of that quarter, picked up her 4th foul. She's back in the game to start the 4th. Melissa Lee alongside 3-time WNBA Coach of the Year Mike Tebow. Milan fires.
I mean, one fortunate thing for Maine is not like NC State came out and played great in that quarter either. You know, Leslie didn't score. Not a lot of points scored in the quarter by either team.
She scores now.
Come back out, get herself going.
15 points for Kiera Leslie. Milan will try again. Offensive rebound is there by Waddling. Another opportunity. Sar baseline. And swings it back out.
Great patience to not try to force a pass in the lane when she was driving baseline.
There's a look for Sutton.
Same look, same result.
We talked about how May went back and looked at the video of their game against NC State earlier in the season. And they had some great looks, some great opportunities. They're going to go back and probably look at this tape and think the same thing, Coach.
Yeah, the difference is in this game, I think, is that NC State had a lot more time to prepare for this. So the open looks that they're getting today, Maine, a lot of them are actually by design from NC State. They're allowing Sutton to have wide open looks. Not so much from Milan. Hers have been contested, but Sutton's been allowed to shoot the 3.
Dee Rogers. She is fouled. And this is just a look at what they did in the first meeting. Maine did not shoot the ball well at all. And carry over that a couple months later, same situation.
I think the thing that's improved for Maine in this since last time is their defense. They've done a better job on NC State this time. They just haven't done any better on the offensive end.
Points in the paint, 26-6 in favor of NC State. So that's a number I think we all kind of expected. Even Maine expected that, but they also expected Maine. They would have a lot more three-pointers by this point in the fourth quarter. They're sitting at 7 for the game.
Yep, and they've had the looks to do it. The other problem for Maine is they don't have an offense that's a quick hitter offense that you can just come down and score rapidly. Their offense takes a lot of time every time in the possession, and when you're down this many points, you need quicker scores.
5 seconds on the shot clock, and that's off the glass and good for Wadley.
I don't think she called bank.
I don't think she did either, but she'll take it. Now a 14-point lead for NC State. Tried to advance to a Monday evening date with Kentucky, who defeated Princeton earlier today.
I think if NC State wanted to be a little bit boring with their offense, they could throw it to Canane every time down in the post, and something good would happen a lot.
She had 8 points all by herself in the third quarter alone. Special kid, 4-time ACC Rookie of the Week. 20 games of 10-plus points or more. Very effective. And Milan. So is she going to get going now with 7 minutes to go?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of kid she is in that regard, but she sure got to feel good about seeing that go through.
That was about the most confident I've seen her taking a shot here today.
Well, we saw that in practice yesterday. They've worked hard over the last couple weeks to get more backdoor plays for Leslie and Koenig, with people playing on top of them on the perimeter.
Looked really good there. Godwin did a nice job setting that screen to find an opening and give and go back to her. And Kanena's there. Just a big body. 9th rebound for Kanane.
She's going to be a special player. And you're talking about a 6'5" freshman who has a lot of poise, is not afraid of big moments.
Even that shot right there, Coach. So she ran in immediately to go grab her own miss.
Yeah, well, she knows her shooting, whether she's making it or not. I'm just so impressed by her. I saw her play early in the season. North Carolina State played up in D.C. at Georgetown, and she was coming off the bench, but she put on a show that day, and you could see that great things were about to happen for her.
And she was playing 20 minutes or so and then moved into that bigger role with Cassell when she went down with her injury. You just want to get her more touches. She's been very efficient this season. That is battered away by Kayla Jones.
They gave the ball to NC State, but I thought Jones knocked it out. A couple players from Maine were questioning the call, but
another thing about Kanane that Wes Moore made a point to mention, it is a big jump from high school to the ACC.
Yes, it is.
And she's done a fantastic job within that jump. Shooting 57% on the season as that rims out for Leslie. The future is bright. And again, they got a fantastic recruiting class incoming.
They got the players that were hurt coming back, an incoming recruiting class, returning players like Kanane and Koenig. It's a great future here at NC State.
So we told Coach Moore, so what you're saying, Coach, is that you're loaded next season. Yeah, a little bit.
You know, he would never completely admit that out loud, though.
But he's smiling in his quiet moments. You know that. There's a steal on this end. Milan gives it up. The outside shot goes down for Rossignol. First time we've called her name in a while. She's got 13.
Well, they've guarded her with a little bit more size in this third quarter. And it took her out of the offense.
out, swing it around, Crutchfield. 6 seconds on the shot clock. The bounce puts it on the floor. And that one is airmail by Rosignol. She was trying again from that same location on the other side.
And she does what all good shooters do. She smiled and then she wiped her hands off like they was wet.
And there's not going to be any wiping of hands for Leslie there. Great looking three. 20 points for the grad from Holly Springs, North Carolina.
Yeah, Leslie started her career in Maryland and then transferred back here. She's from this area. Her brother played here. It was a natural fit for her to come back.
With three, Rosignol. A couple of buckets for her from outside here in the fourth.
Well, if this is her last game, she's going to go down firing.
Senior guard from Van Buren, Maine. 16 points in the matchup, 4 rebounds and an assist.
NC State take a little bit more clock on each play right now.
Crutchfield. Off the glass and good. 14 points for her. She has had an outstanding game. Number 3 to go.
Again, taking a lot of time off the clock, trying to get a good shot.
8 seconds on the shot clock for Dorsar. Swing it around.
We got a few coaches behind us here telling Kayla Jones to slow it down.
They've gone up and down the court. And we didn't have any stoppage of play there for a while. And every time Maine chips away at the lead, NC State comes right back.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance. It goes to Kiera Leslie. 20.6 rebounds on the day.
She's been terrific. That's what a senior leader should be. She's done it everywhere on the court. She's knocked down threes, 3 for 7. It's her 8th 20-point game of the season. She's gotten on the boards for 6 boards, as you said, but she's been able to drive it when that's called for. She's read the game really well today, knowing when to shoot the jump shot, when to attack the rim.
As Westmore said when he got here, he said he heard she was an okay shooter, turned herself into a shooter, transferred in, and he saw her putting up shots and said, oh, that's pretty good. I'll take that. And they asked so much of her, not just from the offensive end, but defensively in every aspect of the game.
Well, they got her out now, probably figuring that they can rest her down the stretch here.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Crutchfield. Sarr with the rebound.
I've been impressed with North Carolina State's scouting report defense and taking away key players for Maine, making them have to use a ton of shot clock to get a good look.
Yeah, they got 4 seconds there for Dorsar. Airmails it, and it's given back to NC State.
Got some subs in the game now, too.
Alon, disappointing day for her, as well as Tanisha Sutton for Maine. Well below their averages on the year. Alon with just 4 points, averages 17 per game. Sutton with 3 points, averages 14.
Taking a 20-second timeout just to sub here, get people in the game. They've already subbed Jada Rice in.
Got a minute remaining here in Raleigh, 63-48, NC State. Catch SportsCenter tonight after after Top Rank Boxing with John Anderson and Steve Levy. We'll have all the must-see plays from the Murray State and Florida State matchup. Plus, KD leads the Warriors against Luka Doncic and the Mavs. And UFC heavyweight champ Daniel Cormier joins the show to break down Pettis Thompson. SportsCenter, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Final minute of action here. NC State on top of Maine, the 3 seed, on top of the 14th seed, and quite a few substitutions to give some of the upperclassmen some love. Leslie alongside Mike Tebow will be here this afternoon.
Always love when the subs are in the game and the veterans are on the bench rooting for these guys to make shots at the end of games. The whole NC State bench was up thinking that the ball was going in.
Three-pointer falls for Rosignol. That's a senior for Maine. Crutchfield with the ball in her hands. 14 points here today. Her average is 5.8 on the season. Four seconds on the clock. Shot is up. And that'll do it. NC State advances. The final score is 63-51. NC State advances. Now let's send you to Central Michigan. Michigan State matchup.